taking a moment to just breathe in this space. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Ascension Inspiration. I'm just going to take a moment for us to gather, for those that want to gather. Right now I'm guided, just like I was last week, to have my beloved brother, an angel man of music, Elijah Ray. And I'll say hello to those of you that are coming in here. Hello, Donna Amadei from Avalon. Bless you. Thank you for your presence. Sharona Ma, thank you for being here. Today is episode 6 on 6. 666. Run for your life. Just kidding. It's a holy day. It's a holy moment. No fear needed. The presence of God is present here within me, within you. And stay as long as you can. This will be up for review and later to watch. And also just give you a heads up. If you go to the Powers of Love on YouTube, I've put them all up there. And if you've missed any, you can go up there. And maybe on the bottom of this, I'll put a link for the previous episodes. But come on in, gather a seat. Share this if you feel guided, and just be. And I just send you love right where you are, knowing that we share one breath, we share one mind, we share one love, we share one power. And my intention here in this now moment of why I click live, why I do this, is to inspire, activate, and elevate something inside you that I know is inside of me. Because right where you are, right where I am, God is. The presence of beauty, love, power, wisdom is, healing is, opulence is. It is here. It's there. It's everywhere. And what I know is that when we remember and we recognize and we realign, we reattune, we reconnect to that truth, life unfolds perfectly. There's no need to push, no need to pull, no need to manipulate, no need to fear, no need to do anything but just be available for good, for God, for miracles. And so this is inspiration of the Ascension. And I want to read to you again why I'm doing what I'm doing. The why. Going back to, I had a breathwork sound healing weeks ago, and I was given the guidance within my own whispers inside that presence. You know, when you get those whispers and those imaginings, that visualization, that imagination, which is the divine, you get a vision. And I got a vision, I got a clear message. Read this book. And it is a book called, it's backwards to you, Ascension Inspiration by Serapis, published by the Summit Lighthouse University. Elizabeth Clare Prophet and Mark Prophet, beloveds that have now since transitioned. It has been known that Mark Prophet is known as the Ascended Master Lanello, and Elizabeth Clare Prophet is known as Guru Ma. And whether you subscribe to these two beings here that were on this plane of action or not, it's neither here nor there. Because we recognize truth. We recognize truth no matter where it is. So you will recognize truth today. And a quote that really inspired this, that really catalyzed me to do this, because this is not for the faint of heart. This isn't, it's not a broad path. And I'm not looking for 3,000 views again. I'm here to speak to whoever you are, right where you are, to inspire you into understanding what is this thing called ascension. You know, last Sunday I spoke at the Global Truth Center, home community of Heather and I, and we're talking about what's your purpose? and my purpose, I clearly stated, was to embody the mind that was in Christ Jesus. It said in the Bible, have the mind that was in Christ Jesus. That is the mind, and I'm a mental practitioner of science of mind. I deal with thoughts and beliefs about what you are, what beliefs are limiting you, what beliefs are serving you. Because what it is we create our reality by what we think and what we feel. And a lot of times, what we think influences what we feel, and what we feel influences our creation. So I've been trained to go into the mental field and extract the weeds and plant some gardens that actually affect your outer condition, creating a new effect with a new cause. That's the science of mind in essence. And so my purpose is to embody the mind of Christ. And I was joking, when I was a child, my dream that I've had as a child was to be like Jesus Christ. That was it. Simple. I can only say that. I didn't grow up going to church with my family, but I had a child's Bible. And Reverend Dr. James Mellon says, "Did you read it to the end?" And we had a good laugh. It was awesome. I laughed because he's talking about, at the end of the story, Jesus, he gets crucified. And what I like to say is actually, if you read the end of Jesus' life, he ascends. And so this is an old idea. What is ascension? What did Jesus do 40 days from the crucifixion? From the time, or 40 days from the resurrection, when he came out of the tomb, which is known as Easter, right? What happened 40 days from then, where he went and he taught the disciples, and he went and communed, and some of them touched the wounds, and the story goes on, right? Whether you believe it or not, there's this idea of ascension. And I found a great description from a website called askangels.com. And I love this definition. It's a very simple definition. Let me turn your brother Elijah Ray down. Elijah's music is called Soundlight, and it's an album for lovers. Come on, gotta have that in the backdrop. And I want to say hello to you, Jill. If you're here, you said yes on cutting your hair. That's how I feel. A little streamlined, right? So on askangels.com, it says ascension by definition is the path of those who are choosing to consciously step into a higher level of light. It's a personal choice to boldly step into the unknown in order to expand into an experience that is entirely new. Ascension is actively choosing to evolve into a higher consciousness. So in simplicity, it's up-leveling you, your mind, your emotions, your whole experience of life. All right, it's not just a woo-woo experience. Ascension, as he goes on to say, ascension is merging with your higher self, right? You have a higher self. You might have seen the I Am Presence chart, one of our favorite charts in our home. You've got your human self, your human avatar self. You've got your holy Christed self, right? The next level up. And then you've got your God self, your monad. You've got that all that I am coming in and is streaming through. So ascension is merging these three in one. Opening your heart and expanding to reunite with Source, Christ's light, and all levels and layers of your authentic self. It is returning to the experience of divine light and experiencing the highest levels of unconditional love and divine alignment with pure Source light in every day, in every area of life. Ascension is not something that just happened on 12/21/12, or it's going to happen on a certain date, right? Or that we unknowingly or unwillingly step into it. You don't just accidentally ascend. You don't just, let me just do my life over here. Oh, how did I get over here? How did life get so beautiful? Over here I was worrying, but boom, You don't just stumble into it. Rather, through expanded awareness and by integrating, keyword integrating the higher vibrational consciousness of our spiritual selves, we're able to ascend. Ascension is a process of aligning with higher consciousness and with the divine. It doesn't happen instantly or automatically, but rather ascension happens incrementally. As we increase our present moment illumination one step at a time. Ascension is not only spiritual, physical, or mental. The ascension process has an impact on your entire being and how you perceive, relate to, and interact with the world around you. Ascension is a total transformation. It's like the queer eye for the straight guys coming in. Call me your ascension guide, your ascension guide makeover. I'm here to inspire, activate, and elevate something inside you that's going, I want to ascend. I desire to ascend. It's inherent inside you. There's something inside of you that is inherently designed to ascend. And I'm here to speak life to it, to speak love to it, to speak light to it in a language that prayerfully you understand, you understand, you remember. All right? And so, Serapis Bey is an ascended master. He's known as the Chohan of what is called the fourth ray. There are 7 rays. There are 7 Chohans, or 7 masters, just like there's 7 chakras. There are these etherical retreats. And in those retreats, these energy centers, these intelligences, there are these, what they're called Chohans, masters of wisdom, right? All right, so Serapis Bey is known as the Lord of the Fourth Ray, all right? He's been in different embodiments. One of my favorites, King Leonidas of the Spartan 300, and on and more. I'm not going to go into that. Just a brief overview. I always want to recap. We are on chapter 5. This is episode 6. And Serapis Bey, inside the retreat is located at Luxor, Egypt. And so all beings must meet these beings before you ascend. Robin Proet, you say, I thought we all ascend, maybe at different times, but it's inevitable. No one gets left behind. Time and space are an illusion. Everybody ascends. You will go through the ascension. And it's a promise, it's your inheritance. It's just a matter of what life cycle you're on at this point, you know? How obedient or how recalcitrant your will is in oppose or in alignment with the will of God, the will of the One. We all ascend. It's already happened. We're in this multi-dimensional time warp, all right? I'm not going to get into all that because we can get lost in the labyrinth of dimensional time travel. I'm here as a bridge walker, a bridge builder, here to connect the dots, or so to say, and keep it simple and keep it very practical. But it's also potent, and I'm not going to back away from speaking the truth as I've called before I even spoke this, before I even click live. I call in my counsel, I call in the legions that I work with, I call in my sponsors and masters, I call in Serapis Bey to pressurize and overlight this time. And so I'm getting my little Jason out of the way and allowing Spirit, the presence of God, to speak through, to inspire, activate, and elevate something inside of you. All right? There's a book I want to begin. There's a prayer. This is an incredible book. Got this in Shasta on Lionsgate a few years ago when I was asking for Portia. Because we all know Saint Germain. But when I went to Shasta for the first time, I said, Portia, please show yourself. I want to feel you. I want to hear your presence, your voice. We hear a lot of the masculine masters. I really am calling in my own personal journey for the masters of wisdom in the feminine embodiment. You know, in our home, we've got Guadalupe, Guanxian. We work with Divine Mother very intimately, and she's very present. You know, I carry her. Not only this is beautiful little, check this out. That is the sword of Michael. But on this, over my high heart, I carry this. This is Ma, right? Very special. The Michael and Mother. But I want to open up this prayer. I say aloha to you, brother Afir Love. Been feeling your presence, specifically when I spoke the name Victory. So this is a prayer for personal ascension. In the name of my beloved God presence I am, I ask to receive the initiations needed to qualify for ascension. I call for a great cosmic shaft of cosmic purity flame to remove from my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, and my body, and all subtle bodies, every vibration of human creation that is impure in substance and less than my divine perfection in God. May the flame of purity transmute from my world all remaining negative energies. May the love of Christ expand in me through the power of the Ascension Flame. May the resurrection flame awaken the memories of my divine blueprint so that I can be free forever from all discord that I've ever created. I affirm that I am purity in action. I am God's purity established within mind, body, and soul. Let me also invoke purity for every part of life on earth. Let me invoke purity for my family, my friends, and for the whole family of God, all kingdoms, including the elementals, the angelic realm, the nature spirits, the devas, the animals, the plants, the trees, the insects, and the mineral kingdoms. And so it is, beloved I am, beloved I am, beloved I am. All right, we're just getting warmed up, family. Ascension Dossier, here it is, chapter 5. And it's called The Purification of the Memory. So stay as long as you can. Once again, share this if you feel called to share it. I'm going to go just to the end of this chapter. They're not very long, but I'm just going to go through it. And if something inspired comes through, I will share. But I'm just going to let Serapis Bey speak to us at this point. And there's a little quote in the beginning of it. It says, "Unto you, whose will is harnessed to the absolute desire for soul purification, I am the purifier and the refiner's fire." And so right now I'm going to tell you it's going to get lit. It's going to get hot. You might feel your body start to heat up because in my vocal resonance, I carry a lot of fire. There's a lot of fire element right now. Heather Grace and I have been activating a lot of fire element. And so tune into your body. And it's okay. We want the flame. We want the fire inside. We want it to purify. And so this is all what the Ascension Flame is, a purifying flame. To ascend, we must become purified. And not Puritan like, religious little, but it's purity. Pure love, pulo as I love to call it, is required. Serapis says, "And I saw the furnace of trials heated white hot, and I perceived the testing of the matrices of divine love. I said unto God, O Lord, thou hast measured the infinite by thine own strength, and thou hast placed the measure of the infinite within man. And as was spoken in Genesis, quote, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." I remember when I first heard that. As a child, I read the Tower of Babel, and when the people, in their service to self, not service to God and service to one, but service to self, in some greedy agenda, were building this tower, this phallus, this heavenly, to reach God, and they came and destroyed it, and the people's language became confused. And I know that inside, maybe you might relate to that, but there was a place where, and my prayers even in this now, is that my words don't confuse you, my words don't cause you to stumble. I want to be conscious of bringing a simplified language of love that unites us, that connects us, that we don't fight over the words, we don't fight over the terminology, we don't fight over the dogma and the theology and the generational of understandings of what it means to live happy, joyful, and free. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. Call it the kingdom, call it nirvana, call it Muhammad's, whatever religion path. There is this living a quality of life and freedom of spirit, which we all are wanting, right? But our language can sometimes get caught up. And so this is a part in the Bible that I know for me, and I see it in our life, that we are divided by language. But there is a language that goes beyond speech. Thus has the cosmic law acted and prescribed the borders of man's habitation to keep the way of the tree of life and its fruit for the eating of those whose consciousness identifies with divine reality, happiness, bliss, purity, and those qualities that are native unto God. Those who feel that the lure of the world is greater than the magnetism of the divine ought soberly to consider the fact that all things were made by him. And that is clearly recorded in Scripture. Quote, "Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him." We have no idea, family. We get pulled by the ways of the world. And what are the ways of the world? They're the four lower bodies. The primal desire for fame, fortune, sex, power, control, domination, consuming. There's this, the ways of the world, the lures of the world have swayed us, and we think that Dubai, one of the most amazing cities. There's cities in China that pale in the cities that we've seen. There are so many incredible things that man have created. But no eye has seen, no ear has heard the beauty, the sound, the colors, the majesty of our God's creation. And so when we turn away from the divine and we go towards service to self, small self, this is what Serapis is talking about. The mark of the beast must be perceived as the mark of a man, but the tracings of the divine are everywhere apparent. There are none so blind as those who will not see. Therefore, in searching for the ascension, men must examine the motives of God. To do this properly, men, women must seek to enter the consciousness of God. There is a pulsating sound throughout the universe, which has been described as the holy Aum or Om, right? The Om. Others have referred it to as the Amen. It is the infinite, moving through the cusp of the finite and quivering with the infinite life of the eternal. We come now to the place where memory must be cognized as the individualized akasha of a life stream. Without memory, identity would fall. Without memory, purpose would not be perceived, nor would there be any integration of purpose. The gift of memory is intended to be a purified faculty designed by God to enable humanity to rise in awareness step by step until self-mastery is gained. Every ascended master has passed through the Ascension Flame here at Luxor. But long before the possibility of that event had any validity for them, they first passed their memory through the flame. What do you remember? This past weekend, just a fun little story, I was DJing a wedding at this place called Bella Cavalli Farms in Solvang, California. Beautiful place. Heather came with me. And this was a very high-end boarding house for these amazing horses of all kinds, colors, breeds. And got set up and had some time to really spend some time with these beautiful beings. And I came eye to eye with this beautiful white horse with blue eyes. And I remember just looking at his eyes, or her eyes. I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl, but there was this memory. Brother Michael Fox and I, we talk about these ancient memory recalls, AMRs. You have these ancient memory recalls. And maybe you've got them in your own way, but you have these memories, and I was looking into this horse's eye, and just flashes of memory came in. And I remember being so connected to these beings. In my live stream, I've been around horses. My mother worked at a stables when I was a child. I was around horses loosely, but what I'm talking about is that really soul bond with these beautiful, majestic beings. these horses. And I remember my connection with the horse. Whether that was my days as a Cathar or a knight, as damn Robin Davis shows up, being on my steed, you know, that connection that I had, or my indigenous heritage. I know I come from the Native American past. You know, what I'm tuning into, it's our connection. And so there's these memories we have. And then there's these memories we have here in this live stream that need to be burned, that need to go to the flame, that need to be purified. You know, a lot of our habits, a lot of our habitual communication, our habitual interactions with our beloveds, with our community, with opportunity, with God, with Jesus, with whatever, there's memories that may not be serving you. And so what Serapis is saying, before you come to Luxor, your memory has to be into the flame. We have to purify our memories. Every ascended master, he said, has to do this. The infestation of mortal thought and feeling, the variance from divine measurement, and the awful putrefaction of mortal ideas accompanied by greed, vengeance, egoism, and the desire to expand the ego have wrought havoc with the tender folds of memory. So what our invitation here in this now moment, family, is to take your memories and place them in the holy white fire, right? The Ascension Flame. Imagine in your own time, this is what the invitation is here, is that we come into the fire and we allow karmic memory to be blazed, because it must. We're carrying generational and generational of healing that needs to happen. We are the ones. We raised our hands, said, I'm going to do it for my father's fathers' fathers' fathers. And my father's fathers' fathers' fathers go way back. My heritage, I found out a couple of years ago that my family's connected to Washington and Lafayette, going way back to my 6th generational great-grandfather. You know, it's very interesting, but you know, whatever masculine, feminine role I took in whatever live stream, because we haven't been just a woman, I have not just been just a man. I was a plant, I was a tree, I was different things, I believe. Take what you want, leave the rest. That's a side note for this broadcast. And I'm not attached to any of my thoughts. That's for freedom. Anyway, so go on. Not only are individuals themselves full of dead men's bones and iniquities, as the Lord Christ spake long ago, not only are they full of hypocrisy, fawning upon those who feel will do them good, and cursing by silence those whom they despise, but they are also forgetters of their promises. They remember that which they ought not to remember, and they retain not which they ought to remember. What are we retaining? What are we remembering? Are we remembering the sins against us, the wrongs, the betrayals, the abuses? Where are our thoughts? Where are our memories dominating today? I remember when I was in Peru with Heather and a various family before we got married, there was a song that I was singing on the land everywhere I was going. And I give this song to you, and you probably heard it. And if you haven't, it's very simple. But in our memory, I give this to you. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who we are. We are remembering. Serapis goes on to say, I do not intend to spare those who desire their freedom. For unless they are aware of these things, in which all men have engaged more or less to some relative degree, the necessary purifications cannot be accomplished, which will enable them to enter through the mediatorship of the living, loving Christ into that God flame which is called the Ascension Flame, and which acts to perform the final rite of absolution and purity, uniting man unto God. Books have been written, courses have been given, and people have sat for hours and hours at the feet of gurus. Rituals have been performed, spiritual exercises, long readings, broadcasts, live feeds have been going on and on and on. Meditations, but there is no substitute in any of these for the purification which the soul must willingly invoke and undergo. The heat of this fire is not always comfortable, nor is it intended to be so. This journey, this spiritual journey, family, is not for the faint of heart. When you continue to go, your challenges, your purifications, your testing of your faith will call you to the mat, will call you to be prone before the throne of God and to burn out your little egoic will, to come into obedience to the will of God as you, inside you. It's not to a God outside of you. It's to the God presence within you. The God presence that is love, that is beauty, that is power, that is wisdom, that is prosperity, that is creativity. We must come into alignment with that. And when we walk this path, we say, oh, I woke up. I'm seeing numbers everywhere. I'm seeing synchronicities. Holy crap, I'm magical. Look at me. I'm so magical. I am. You are. But there's more. There's a great teaching of understanding the third and the fourth and the fifth dimensions and beyond. Fifth and beyond. Third dimensional, material. You know, we're going to get the BMW, we're getting the car, we're getting the house, we're getting the wife, we're getting the material realm, 3D realm, right? A lot of you watching this 3D realm, you know, you're living in it, you're doing your best trying to anchor fifth and higher into the third. That's what we're trying to do. But the fourth dimension, a lot of my brothers and sisters, you're getting stuck in the fourth dimension. That's the magical realm, right? Light and dark, battle, forces, boom, 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 right? You get lost in the fourth dimension, the astral realm. It's a very dangerous place to get stuck in. There's something called cosmic glamour, right? There's glamour in the astral realm. The ego gets in there, slips in there. We start thinking we're really special. We think we're the one, our mission. I'm getting the messages. Do you relate? Do you understand? We're all tuning in to 1111 FM. We're getting the message. None of us are more special than any other. When you get into the fifth dimension and beyond, it's now called the miraculous realm. Now we're starting to get into beyond the miraculous realm. We're moving into the monadic realm where there is only one. We're in unity consciousness, right? So there's more to go. And when we're on that path, purification, the fires, it's not going to be comfortable. You're not seeking comfort. To seek security and comfort, as I heard Satguru of the Inner Foundation, what's it called? Satguru, you know who Satguru is. I heard him, I did some work with him in his foundation a long time ago. But he said to seek security, to seek comfort is to seek death, right? We're living on the edge, as Aerosmith sings. We're living on the edge of a new earth, of a new paradigm. And we're being pushed and expanded, and we're growing, and we want to push, just as we're working out, we want to push those muscles. We want to expand capacity. We want to grow. We do not want to stay stuck in a limiting paradigm. And I know none of us are doing that. So the fire is where you want to live. Heather and I often joke, we say our second address is the cauldron. We live in the holy fire. We invoke the fire in our life. We invoke the alchemical fires that are burning out the karmic debris, that are burning out the lead, the heavy density of memory, of thoughts and feelings, to eradicate so that we may become lighter, buoyant, and free. Like a hot air balloon, right? Serapis goes on to say, the soul came forth with a thrust of purpose to do the will of God. Again, I go back, I spoke about last week at Global Truth Center, what's my purpose? To do the will of God. That's it. Period. There's nothing else. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? Tune in. What's your purpose? What's that passion? What is that thing that drives you to do what you do? I can tell you right here and right now why I'm doing what I'm doing right here and right now is because the will of God has guided me to inspire, activate, and elevate one love consciousness, Christ consciousness. Call it what you will. Doesn't matter what you call it. Call it Fred, call it Lucy. Just don't call it late for dinner. But the soul came forth. We came forth with a thrust of purpose to do the will of God. And the human thought patterns, which have been externalized, have been an awesome blight upon the radiant patterns of the soul beneath. The human overlay has opaqued the light, and the travail of spiritual birth has yielded to birth in matter and the misqualification of substance. The contamination of substance upon memory has made it a frightening thing, an object of horror, whereas God would have it an object of celestial beauty, where the Elysian fields can be perceived in their true reality, and the world seen as but a figment of mortal illusion. When this occurs, when the flames of purification extend themselves into the memory body, it creates a spiritual magnet around the aura of the individual, which draws him or her up into such a Christ magnificence as he or she has never, even in their greatest moments of divine attunement, understood or envisioned. Truly, what we're being invited by Serapis Bey is to come into the fires, to place our memories there, to willingly go into the Ascension Flame. And so, as a side note, what I'm saying here is that at night, when you go to sleep, you can call upon your presence to attend Luxor in your dream time, to bring your soul, to bring that body of yours into the temple at Luxor in Egypt, and spend some time with Serapis Bey and the Great White Brotherhood to purify. You want to willingly purify. Purity is your protection. Purity is your power. Purity is your peace. Purity is your prosperity. And I come to you as one who has laid this life down to walk a pure path of love. Not always doing it as well as I'd like to, but progressing. Progress, not perfection, right? Grace upon us all. I come to you as one who's walking a path of mastery by the ones before me, calling you. What this world needs now more than ever is beings, unascended beings who have been qualified for purification, who are increasing their capacity to hold the Christ light in the throes of the chaos, that we stand, we hold the line, because at the door there are forces. It's the nature of things. There are forces. I am the presence on guard here and there. Something I've been invoking daily lately. Be the guard. You are the guard of your mind, of your heart. Because there is going to be a challenge. Once you start expanding, increasing capacity, you will be tested. Nothing to fear. When you're attuned and you're aligned and you know who you are, I am remembering I am that I am. And for that, I am grateful. When you stay in that centered knowingness, fear nothing, nothing to fear. It's just awareness, discernment. But when we come into this, there is something that's just calling us in our Christ magnificence when we allow the holy fires to blaze us, to blaze our mental, emotional, physical, etheric bodies. That Christ magnificence, our auric field becomes radiant Serapis goes on to say, I'm urging upon you then the recognition of the need to purify your memory body of all the sordid details which are stored there, of all patterns whatsoever that are of negation, of all activities that are distinctly anti-Christ, which may lie as obsession within the soul, and of all beneath the surface of consciousness which is not the purity of the supreme consciousness of the Christ mediatorship of your higher mental body or your holy Christ itself. Some, Serapis says, have sat before me at Luxor when I have given this very same lecture, and they have said, send me back, for my consciousness is but a sewer of human reason, and I'm without hope. To these I've turned with a look of withering scorn and spoken these words. You have disgraced divine purpose for centuries, and now you stand at the doorway of freedom by this divine grace. Would you return then to the turgid sea of human emotions and frustrations without receiving the benefit of our instruction when you stand nigh unto the portals of a complete escape? Out of an entire class, I have seen no more than one then turn back. And frequently, as that one has lingered near the portal, he has silently slid back into his seat and gone on. Do you see, precious ones? It's all a matter of perspective. Those who minister in the world to humanity's spiritual needs do so from the standpoint of pleasing men. We act solely from the standpoint of pleasing God. And that is my intention here and now. It has always been, I will speak the truth in God's name. Not to please your ear, not to tickle your fancy, not to get you to do anything for me, to do anything for Heather and I. This is just, the truth must be spoken. It is not an easy path. It is a necessary path. We're on the brink of something amazing in humanity. It's amazing. It's unprecedented. We don't know what it looks like yet, but it's called the golden age of freedom. That's what I know. And I will speak and I will align myself with the hierarchy, with the ascended host, and speak as a human in relationship with the ascended master realm, with Serapis based specifically here and now. Not to do the will of men. Too many churches, too many preachers, too many ministers are tickling the fancy of their congregation to keep that money flow going. I just got to tell them what they want to hear. No more of that. That has not served humanity. That has not served this planet. Our desire is to get the job done, to fulfill the divine plan, to show men how to find their freedom. Men and women require spunk and a straight spine. There is no question they have pampered themselves, and with illusion. Straight talk and straight thought will do much to clear the way, and it will not place any individual outside the citadel of hope, but wholly within it. Humanity, they stay on the merry-go-round of human thought and feeling because they fear lest they fall off. But it will keep on going. So jump off the round of delusion in the mad whirl of human confusion. Jump off the round of delusion in the mad whirl of human confusion. One more time. Jump off the round of delusion and the mad whirl of human confusion. Come to Luxor, Serapis Bey says, to the place where I am. Lovingly, I continue, Serapis. So here and now you've heard it. You can't unhear it. You can't unknow it. And I know you already know this. You already do. You've been called to be a light worker, to be a light weaver, to be a light warrior, to be a beacon of light on the planet, to be a beacon of love on the planet. Where is love not having its way? A lot of times it's in our karmic memory. It's in our behaviors and our thoughts about who we think we are, what we think the world is, what our teachers, our parents, our educators, our government have told us who we are. And so we have these memory books. He's called these history books. It's bullshit. It's not true history. Our true origins have yet to be truly discovered and uncovered. And we're just at the brink of uncovering these. We are star beings. We are starlight. As Moby sings, we are all made of stars. Some of us different star streams, different star systems. Many of us different families. We have clusters of family, and you're reunited. You might see a family. You might see a brother in me. You might recognize something. You know, I'm not attached to which star system. You know, I have ideas, but it doesn't matter. That's not here and there. But we are remembering. But let's jump off the whirl, the rat race, the little karmic wheel of life, and grab the golden ring. You know, at Santa Cruz, where I grew up, there was this merry-go-round, and you tried to get the brass ring and throw that ring right into the center of the clown's mouth. The joker, the trickster. I just thank you. I thank the presence of God right here and right now. Reading this is good for me. It's good for you. I know, because right where you are, I am. Right where I am, you are. So I know that if something ignites inside me, it's igniting inside of you. You know, all the things that we're doing to get money, to make sure that we're getting the girlfriend, the boyfriend, getting the cars, getting the things, all that, you know, it matters in the relative realm. But what ultimately matters is our connection to Source, to God. That pure connection, that purity, that pure stream. You know, in the esoteric science, it's called the Antakarana, your rainbow bridge, your connection to Source. And a lot of us, some of us have a strong connection. You're powerful. You're getting the downloads. You're getting the channeling. You're channeling the stream of light in the different personalities, right? You're not special because you can do that. That's natural for us. A lot of humanity is blocked from that. We don't have the ability, or we forgot we can do that. We think we're less than that. We think we're this unascended 3D human being, inking out a life, going to college, owing $60,000, $100,000 of debt, getting into a job. I'm a worker, little bee. And we are more than that. We are sovereign beings with a connection to that, right? But a lot of times what keeps that from happening is the karmic memory, the debris. And so Serapis is saying today, bring that memory into the flame. Let it be purified. You can do that in meditation. You can do that when you sleep. You can do that in just being in a vibration of the holy flame, you know, with certain beings, you know. Purity, purity, purity. Serapis Bey is known as the disciplinarian. And I know that's why he's in my life, because I require that. I don't know about you, but I require somebody to hold me to the line in purity. You know, military was not my calling. I couldn't do the military. I couldn't have some guy screaming at me for some agenda of the government. But I can have a Chohan of the fourth ray like Serapis Bey, or El Moira, the Chohan of the first blue ray. These beings are very present in my field, in my heart, calling me to purify, to get rid of alcohol, to get rid of pot, to get rid of the food that degrades my temple body, to continue to purify. It's not perfection, but it's progress. It's a process of progress. We keep leaning into that. And the more we lean into that purification path, we become greater containers of this light. And humanity is calling, this planet is calling, the elementals, the nature spirits, the angelic hosts, they're calling for us to be pure containers. There's a group that Heather and I are part of called the Elemental Grace Alliance. You've heard us talk about it. You've heard us post about it. Coming up in July, there is a Rule 1 study in the 14 rules of Jwa Kul. And it's about group dynamic. It's no longer about the individual Antakarana, your individual mission and purpose. What is being called for on our planet now are groups, group organisms, right? We're being called to come in a holy container of equanimity, of harmony, that when we can come into as a group telepathic connection with the councils of light in a shared mission for the divine plan to be fulfilled on heaven on earth. When we come to that, there's no personality, there's no egoic agenda, there's no distrust. These are where we're being called. Humanity has not been there yet. The dark forces in the cabal do that incredibly well. But us as light weavers and light workers, we're still kind of like out there. We're not knowing how to really come into cohesion, in synergy, in synthesis with our Holy Christ self, with our God self. And this is the path. We must come to the Ascension Flame. We must come and purify our karmic memory. And so my prayer is that this has inspired something inside of you, that it's activated something inside of you, that it's elevated your consciousness, because that's what Ascension is, right? I'm not here to help you get rich. I'm not here to help you get a girlfriend. I'm not here to help you have a good, healthy life. That's not my sole purpose. That's a human purpose. It's good. It's good to be happy. It's good to be joyful. Absolutely. But what I know is that I am happy when I am aware of who I am. Joy, prosperity, abundance, health comes naturally. Our purpose is to do the will of God, not the will of self. And so I pray that this has blessed you. And if it has blessed you, I invite you to go to thepowersoflove.com, scroll all the way down, and just give a love offering. It has been said that where you receive spiritual food, give to that. And it's not for me. I'm okay financially. I don't need your money. This isn't what I'm saying. I'm saying that this creates an infinite loop of reciprocity, right? As you give, so shall you receive. And so if it's supported you, if it's done something, or if it's just entertained you for however long you were here, then consider just a donation of, you just had a Jamba Juice, or you had a coffee, or whatever it was, you had a sandwich, $11, whatever that is, doesn't matter. But I invite you to participate in that. Let's share, okay? Some announcements that are coming up. If you're local, Heather and I are going to be in North Hollywood. We're going to be singing for the New Thought Spiritual Center with Reverend Jay Willick. We're excited. We're bringing a new chant called Om Shanti. Heather is open for vocal empowerment coaching. I've got a men's group meeting tomorrow in Los Angeles. If you're a brother, and if you know of any brothers in the Los Angeles area, have them message me. I'm meeting with a group of men in the park under the trees. We're going through a book called Bringing Your Shadows Out of the Dark by Dr. Robert Augustus Masters. And we're really creating a very sacred container, a very beautiful container of men that are coming in and really speaking from the heart, connecting to the heart. And it's a great group. This will be our 4th meeting, and it's just beginning. This is just the beginning. Divine Mother has given me a message to meet with men, to create a circle of sacred men, a sacred circle of men. And I do have a Facebook secret group on that. If you want to join that, you can join that. Just message me and I'll add you to that. I think that's it. And I think... And also, if you're local, we're going to be gathering with a group of people for the solstice on the 23rd here in Ventura County. And then Heather and I are going to be going live soon. So there's just goodness to come. It's time. We're all doing our pieces. We're all doing our parts. This is just my part here. And I thank you for being here. And so I just want to end this with a prayer here and now. So I breathe, and I'm so grateful for this breath. It's always present. It's always available. I don't have to force it. I don't have to wonder if I'm still breathing. I just do. I just am breathing. I am the breath of God. And I know this for every person that's listening, that we share one breath. I'm grateful for this presence that's within us, that is greater than our human. And when I say human, I mean that lower version of self. Knowing that where the human is and the divine meet, they are one. There's one thing going on. and knowing that there's a greater expression calling for us. There's a divine blueprint within each and every single being that is radiating, that is calling forth a greater expression of life, of love, of liberty, of freedom. And so I know that there's been a path laid before. And I thank you, dear brother, Yeshua, Jesus the Christ. And I also thank your beloved Maria Magdalena, the pathway of the rose hearts, and many, the Buddha, Quan Yin Pusa, and the many, many masters of wisdom and light that have walked the path and now are in the ascended realms, here to support, to help, to teach, to purify, to counsel. I give gratitude for the counsels and counsels and counsels that support humanity here and now. And I know that there's so much goodness to come. There is greatness to come. There is liberation to come. And so my prayer is that we step on this path, this golden path of purity, and we stand in the fire, knowing that the fires, that this kind of fires will not consume anything that is less than God. It will consume, anything less than the divine. Yes. And everything that is pure, everything that is peaceful, everything that is perfect stands perfected in the fires. And so all that we require here on this plane of action, whether it be money, whether it be health, whether it be a love, whether it be a creative opportunity, these are the natural manifestations of God embodiment, of God integral light, intelligence. And so I know that's the truth. I know that's the truth for me, and I know that's the truth for every single being that's hearing my word right now. And so we just rest in that. We just be in that. Nothing to do, but everything to just rest and be still and know I am. We are God. I am grateful to know this. I'm grateful to speak this. I'm grateful to release this into the one love matrix, the one mind, the one power. It is done. And if you're in agreement with me, just simply say, and so it is, now and forevermore. It's been said in different indigenous prophecies and races and cultures that first we speak it, or we vision it, we feel it, but we got to tone it, we got to sing it. And so I'm going to end this with what is called the Star Mother Tones. This was received from the Diamond Light Foundation from Kumala and Sharon Rose, and give gratitude for them for bringing this through. But it's called the Star Mother Tones, and they create a very sacred geometric design known as Metatron's Cube. They work with all elements, they work with all your chakras, and they're very simple vowels. It's also known in the Cathar, you might have heard them, but it's A, E, A, O, U, Ma. A, E, A, O, U, Ma. A, E, A, O, U, Ma. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week, if not sooner. Namaste.